Alright, so we're on lesson 7.1. We're going to start off with unit rates. Unit rates is something that you learned at the beginning of the year, so it's just going to be a review for you guys pretty much. It's good news for you. Michael.
So it's 7.1 instead of like 1.1?
How do you guys want to label it?
I don't know.
Just do 1.1?
7:1.1.
On the website I have it 7.1.1, so why don't you label it like that? 7.1.1. That way you'll know it's 7th grade when you're back in chapter 1. 7.1.1. So it's 7th grade, chapter 1, lesson 1. Ben.
This idea came to me over break. Can I put my notes on paper like this and then put it in the back of my binder?
If it works for you, that's fine. But your binder's going to get overflowed and you're going to start losing pages. I would rather you use your notebook. But whatever works for you is fine. The 6 of you, right here and here, you guys are have to scoot in because Hannah's not going to be able to see the board. Sorry. It's not flat brain.
Yeah, it might get a little tricky.
Alright, the go-kart race. Seth, how about you be Seth? And Hannah, you're in this book, Hannah, but we'll have someone play you. Let's have Julia play Hannah.
Oh, I think it's slightly over.
And then Michael Vonder, would you please be the narrator?
Sure.
Okay.
Page 5.
We're on page 5. Go ahead.
Seth and Hannah go in the go-kart.
Okay, here we go. Finishing up lap 12. And we should be coming right around.
It's you.
Woo. Click.
Hi Hannah, how am I doing?
Looking good. Your times are getting faster.
Today's race is going to be 20 laps, but I need to go and take care of some things, like food.
That's okay. We can estimate the rest of the times based on your time so far. The race is 20 laps, which is 5 miles, assuming your speed is consistent. You can calculate your time. You're not listening, are you?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Just thinking about hamburgers.
You will solve this problem here.
Why is everyone so quiet?
I
I need you to be loud. Hannah probably can't hear you.
Let's reread it.
I was very passionate.
Alright. Page 9. Again, we're going to start with unit rates. Alright, on page 9, I want you to look at that heart. Your heart beats so many minutes every... What is it? I'm sorry. Yeah, it has so many beats every minute. The story problem tells you what? Right above that heart. How many times does it beat in that story problem? Griffin? Megan?
Yeah, you have to figure that out.
It doesn't tell you? Oh, we're not going to have time for that. Put 160 beats
Whoa.
over 2 minutes in your heart. 160 over 2. Okay, now we're going to turn that into a unit rate. What do you remember about unit rates from back in October, November? A unit rate has to have a denominator or right side of. Has to have a denominator or a right side of. Max?
Wait, numerator?
Denominator or right side of. What number?
Oh, 102.
What's a unit rate? Who remembers? Megan.
Let's have a 1 on the right side.
1. Unit rate means your denominator or your number after your colon is a 1. So, in that example, you have 160 beats every 2 minutes. How many times does your heart beat, or should it beat, to be healthy, every minute? How am I going to figure that out? How am I going to figure that out? Well, let's take a look up here. This is how it should be. The example that they gave you was 160 over 2. I need to get my denominator to be 1. How do I get my denominator to be 1? Max.
You divide 160 divided by 2.
I divide it by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1.
Uno.
They shouldn't, that's not over. It's just a whole number. 160 divided, or I'm sorry, 2 divided by 2 gives me a denominator of 1. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Michael Berzesi, 160 divided by 2. 80. So my unit rate for my heartbeats on a normal, regular heart should be how many beats per minute? Griffin.
80 beats per minute.
80 beats per minute. Awesome. What word in in 80 beats per minute clues you in that it's a unit rate? What word is your giveaway that it's a unit rate? What is your cue word? Sophia? Per. If you see the word per, that means you have a unit rate. If you see the word per, that means you have a unit rate. That should be going down on the student side of your notebook. If you see the word per, that means you have a unit rate. Griffin.
You said Q word.
I meant clue word, sorry. I would also put on your student side that your unit rate should be a denominator or the right side of your colon as a 1. Hannah, you'll have to send me an email and tell me if you can read that. I can't tell if you can. It looks like you can. Let me know if you can't, Hannah.
It's so weird, really close.
It's
to no
yeah.
one.
We're talking to a wall.
Everybody got this?
No, not the other.
How do you have this turned down already? Go to page 10. Yes, sir.
You said 2 things. You said it's the keyword per, the unit rate, and what's the other one?
A denominator or the right side of your ratio should be a what number?
Okay.
Okay, it's not a number.
1.
1, thank you. Alright, let's look at example number 1. Underneath how it shows you to get your unit rate. Adrienne biked 24 miles in 4 hours. If she biked at a constant speed, how many miles did she ride in 1 hour? How many of you, raise your hand, can do this mentally? If she rode 24 miles in 4 hours, how many did she ride in 1? How many of you could do that mentally? You should all be able to. If you ride 24 miles in 4 hours, what times 4 gets you 24? What times 4 gets you 24? Julia. 6. How do I write my answer when I'm doing unit rates?
You can write it as a fraction. So you put 1 here, put 1 on the
Well, you can, but how do you write it in words after you find this out?
write it as
6 miles per hour. What word in your miles per hour shows you that it's a unit rate? Everybody?
Per.
The P, miles per hour, shows you that you have a unit rate. Now, if you don't understand how to do that mentally, look in the book, and they went through it step by step so you can see how they did it. But those kind of problems, if you can do it mentally and you can say to yourself 24 miles, it took her 4 hours. How many miles per hour on average? Most of you can figure out that that's 6 in your head. If you can do it mentally. Save yourself some time. Remember, one of your practices is that you can do things efficiently. If you can do it mentally while we're doing the work, that is efficient. Okay? Questions so far? Okay, so those are the easy ones. Now we're going to get a little bit harder. We're going to get some problems going that do not work mentally. Alright? So I want, bless you, so I want you to go to number 3 about the dog food. Question 3 about the dog food on page 11. In that example, they gave you 3 stores with dog food. Everyone see it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Your job is to figure out what brand of food is the cheapest. I know we did this. You have to scoot in. How many of those can you do mentally? Look at that chart. How many of those can you do mentally? How many can you do mentally? Grayson. None. So what are you going to have to do to figure out these unit rates? Griffin. Division. Does someone want to tell Hannah what the 7th grade standard is for ratios and rational proportions? Sorry in advance, Hannah. Matt Carabats, as loud as you can.
No calculator.
No calculators in 7th grade ratios. So, we're going to have to figure this out without the help of our handy dandy calculator.
Why?
How do I set up my problem? Let's start with a 40-pound bag of food. How do I set that up to do long division? Who remembers? Who remembers? This is why the chair needs to be pushed in, because you just had to have a max walk over it. Ben, how do I set up this problem?
Well, you put the 40 on the top,
Let's do long division.
and then you divide that by 49,
Okay, how do you know 40 goes on the outside?
because it's how many size of bags there are. It's the size of the
How do you
bag.
know which number goes on the outside? How do you remember that? Megan?
I thought you did. Never mind. Well, because you're trying to divide the price or whatever to see, you know.
49 divided by 40. Yeah?
Well, it's not like how you.
That's how you remember it. 49 divided by 40.
Oh, like when you're seeing them.
You go backwards. 49 divided by 40. So let's go ahead and solve that. 40 goes into 49 how many times? Gabby? 1. 1 times 40 is 40. 49 minus 40 is 9. I'm going to drop down my 0 for right now. I'm going to leave my decimal point there, because where is it really going to go? In division, where does my decimal point go? Nicholas?
On the top.
I just carry it right up. So it doesn't go anywhere but up. Okay, so I'm just going to move it up there. So now I have 90. 40 goes into 90 how many times, Seth? Twice. 2 times 40 is?
80.
And 90 minus 80 is?
10.
I have another 0 to bring down, so I'm going to drop that. Awesome. Wonderful. Super. Michael Brzezzi. 40 goes into 100 how many times?
2.
Goes in there twice. 2 times 40 is? 80. 100 minus 80, Michael Fabro.
10. Wait. 20.
20. 20 is my remainder. In a money problem, what do I do with my remainder? What do I do with my remainder? Anybody know this yet? Max?
Wouldn't you just find the third number, then and then round the 2?
Yeah.
Because that's what they did. Because the next number is a 5, and then they rounded to 2.
How do you know it's a 5 though? Look at this.
Because you add a 0, then it's 200, and then you divide by 40, it's 5.
I know, but look at this. 40 and 20.
But you know you have to add a 0.
I'm trying to give you a shortcut. Anyone know the shortcut? 40 divided by 20. Or what, I'm sorry, not divided. What is 40 and 20's correlation? It is half. What's half? That's a decimal. 5.
Wait, half
Little trick.
of 20 is
Now that you have 1.225, now you know your answer is
1.23.
$1.23. Okay. Just so you guys know, just a little real world experience. If your stores start pricing things out and they see that it's 1.225, you think they're going to round down or they're going to round up? What do you think a store is going to do? This is financial literacy. What are they going to do, everybody? Why are they going to go up?
because they
Get more money.
It's more money.
It's a 5.
It's half a cent, but think about it. For every bag you sell, it's half a cent. People have lots of dogs. They need lots of bags of food. That half cent adds up a lot. Okay? They'll always round up. So keep that in mind. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at example D about Tito. Tito wants to buy some peanut butter. Okay? So they have 4 brands of peanut butter that they want you to look at. Nutty, Grandma's, Bees, and Save-A-Lot. Because of time, I'm going to eliminate 2 of them for you already, just so you only have 2 to look at. Bees and Save-A-Lot are not the cheapest, so get rid of Bees and Save-A-Lot. What I want you to do is I want you to find the unit rates of peanut butter for Nutty and for Grandma's brand. And I want you to tell me which one would be cheaper for him to buy. What is the unit rate for Nutty? What is the unit rate for Grandma's? Go ahead and start getting to work. Yes. They're not the cheapest.